Allies or Enemies by Peachiibunnii, Chapter 22. Green felt gentle hands brushing against his forehead. He groaned, rolling over in annoyance at being woken up. He heard someone chuckle behind him before he let out a large yawn. He rubbed his eyes and pulled the blankets up to his face, planning on going back to sleep. He felt someone put a hand on his waist over the blanket, gently shaking him. "Sunshine, you can't sleep all morning," the voice whispered, making Green smile. He turned his head slightly to squint at the person leaning over him, grinning when he saw Scar. "Good morning," Scar whispered, before leaning in closer to whisper, "I know you don't want to wake up, but we have classes to teach. Unless, of course, you want to stay here," Scar teased. Green considered. He thought about spending all morning dozing off, catching up on missing sleep, lounging around in Scar's clothes, cuddling with Jelly. Apparently, he considered it for too long, because Scar was shaking him again. "I was joking. You can't do that. Come on, Green, you have class." Scar squeezed his side, getting a grumble out of Green. "Unless you do want to stay here." Green finally moved to roll onto his back, staring up at Scar with tired eyes. He shifted to roll over, facing him. He let Scar move in closer, so they were laying together. Green shook his head. "No, I should get up," Green whispered before groaning softly. "I need to drive back to my place and get clothes and shower." Green didn't want to separate from Scar. Being wrapped up in the other's presence was his security blanket. "You can shower here." "Oh, well, that doesn't solve the clothes issue. I think all of my things are too big," Scar mumbled, looking to be biting the inside of his cheek. Green smiled regardless, reaching up to hold his face. Scar's attention shifted immediately when his face got tugged down. Green pulled him into a quick kiss. "I appreciate it, thank you," Green whispered, watching Scar's dazed expression. "I do have to go, though. I may be a little late," Green admitted. "That's okay," Scar whispered. "I'll just have to personally hand-deliver your coffee to you," Scar teased. Green scoffed at the idea. "And make the students think we're dating?" Green asked, shifting to sit up finally and stretch. He raised his arms over his head with a big yawn and let them drop, relaxing his back. He glanced at Scar's thinking face and immediately leaned closer to him. "What's with your face?" Green asked, waiting for an answer. Scar glanced at him, giving the blonde a smile. "Are we dating?" Scar asked, and Green didn't know. Green paused, opening his mouth a little. He wouldn't consider them dating in terms of going out, because all they really do is spend time together at home. Partners or boyfriend seemed a little too soon, but anything else didn't seem enough. "I don't know," Green admitted. "Are you ready to be with me?" Scar asked gently, and Green frowned at the question. "It's not a trick question or something with mean intentions. Just genuine boundaries, I promise," Scar explained, reaching for the blonde hand. Green relaxed and smiled, running his fingers over the other's knuckles. "How about exclusive? Each other's. I'm not sure how ready I am. I've never," Green gestured with his free hand, "I've never been anything to anyone besides a brother." Scar accepted his request nonetheless, nodding in contentment. "Exclusive is good. So I can say, you're mine?" Scar asked. And if that didn't make Green wildly blush, Green glanced away before nodding softly. "You could say that, I suppose," he whispered, smiling happily. "And you're mine, then?" Scar beamed. "And I'm yours," Scar repeated back. Green chuckled and shifted around until he got out from under the covers. "Well, your person needs to leave soon, and to get ready and leave. So, have you seen my pants?" Green asked, getting a laugh out of Scar. "Quit laughing and help me look," Green grumbled at him. Scar continued to laugh, be it against Green's wishes, and leaned over his side of the nightstand to hand Green his folded clothes. Green smiled as he took them and moved to get out of bed, standing with his pants. "I like this," Scar blurted out, catching Green's attention immediately. Green looked up as he pulled his pants up further. "Watching me put pants on?" Green asked, not wanting to judge the other, but it was an interest, to say the least. Scar only laughed, eyes watching Green's eyes instead of his clothes. "I meant this morning. You in my bed? Waking you up?" Scar explained, getting Green's face to burn bright red again. I've wanted this for a long time, and I guess I've never thought it was possible, Scar admitted. Green frowned, shifting around to swap his shirt out for his own. Why's that? Green asked, facing away from Scar momentarily to fight with his shirt. The other remained quiet, confusing Scar. Green turned to look at the other as he pulled his shirt down, seeing Scar's eyes being focused on its back. Green glanced around before looking away, feeling rather self-conscious. Sorry, Scar began. He began. Green gave him a chance to explain. I don't know, Scar admitted, making Green immediately feel anxious. You're just beautiful, and I hate to know you went through something so painful that left you with scars like that. Green immediately relaxed, his anxiety getting the best of him. He smiled, walking around the bed to gently take a hold of Scar's face. He bent down to kiss him slowly. It was still so new to Green, but kissing Scar was his new favorite thing. Don't worry about it, Green whispered. I'm fine now, and they really don't hurt that much, he explained. Which was half true. They only hurt when he needed a preening, which he hadn't had since Pearl gave him one while sick. Scar smiled up at Green, hands gravitating towards the blonde's hips. Green felt him gently squeeze before sliding up his shirt, gently rubbing his skin with his thumbs. Green glanced down before the other moved to stand up. Green gently moved back, not wanting to crowd the other, but Scar only pulled him in again, bending down to kiss him. Green smiled at how affectionate the other was being, soothing a stress in his mind. He happily kissed the other back, while Scar slid a hand to the bottom of one of Green's scars. Green let him, but pulled away to interrogate him. Where do you think those hands are going? Green asked jokingly. Scar sighed, leaning in to kiss Green's cheek. If you don't leave soon, probably anywhere you'd let me. Scar became bold. Fast. Green blushed wildly, any chance of responding faltering in the back of his mind. Scar hummed, taking Green's lack of an answer as hesitation. Sorry, Scar began, hands moving to only rest on Green's hips. Green laughed lightly, hands running up and down Scar's chest. No, you're fine. Green began, pulling one hand away to partially cover his face. That was new, Green realized, finding the words. Scar laughed as well, smiled bright and innocent as always. You bring out a loving side of me, Scar mumbled, bending to rest his cheek against Green's shoulder. Bring out? Scar, what are you talking about? You're the most loving person in everyone's life. Pearl even thinks that, and she barely knows you. Green rubbed at the back of Scar's neck, playing in his hair. Okay, a more loving side of me, Scar corrected. Are we staying or leaving, Sunshine? He asked, the nickname doing funny things to Green's stomach. Right, I do need to leave and shower, Green admitted, glancing at Scar's sad eyes. As much as I'd love to stay, Green whispered, finally pulling away, only to receive a small whine from Scar. Green couldn't help but giggle. Up off me. I smell, and I want my own clothes. At least some. Green grinned, stepping away to gather Scar's old clothes. He missed the warmth the other gave off, but needed to get to his own apartment. It was already running late as it was. He stepped away to get to the living room, finding his shoes partially where he left them, Jelly probably battling with them in the night. Finding his keys was another thing. He looked around the table he'd put them on, and around the floor in confusion. Scar followed shortly after, tilting his own head in confusion. What are you looking for, love? He asked, the nickname momentarily catching Green. Green hummed, tucking the feeling away for a later date. My keys, I think, he began, making his way into the living room. Jelly? Jelly may have used them as a toy last night. Uh-oh. Scar didn't question it, just followed to look around. Yeah, I think she at least knocked them down, he replied, making Grin look up to see Scar holding them. Ah, Grin grinned, coming to retrieve them. He reached out for them, only to be surprised when Scar raised them above his head. Hey, Grin began, looking at Scar. I'll trade you your keys for a kiss, Scar smiled. Grin crossed his arms. I am not kissing you for my own keys, Scar patted. Grin frowned, sighing as he reached up for the other's head to kiss him. Scar hugged him, lowering his arms so he could enjoy the kiss. Alright, now I really need them to leave, Green whispered, pulling back to take the keys and make his way to the door. Scar followed him like a puppy, reaching for his hand. Alright, love you. Green's hand raced. Green's heart raced a little as he opened the door. Turning to smile at the other. I love you too, he whispered, being stopped again. Drive safe, Scar whispered back quietly, keeping Green for another plea of a kiss. Green smiled at the other. I will, he replied, reaching to grab Scar's face, kissing him. I really gotta go now, though. I'll see you in like an hour, he said, giving the other a gentle wave. Scar smiled, waving back before letting Green finally go. Green sighed, never imagining he'd have that interaction in his lifetime. He made his way down the elevator, knowing the walk down the stairs would take forever since Scar lives on a higher level. Once on the ground, he happily made his way to his car, unlocking it with ease. He tossed Scar's items in the passenger seat with his bag before starting his car. The drive back was calm, full of quiet music and not too much traffic. Not enough to ruin his morning on the best morning he'd had in a while. The time on the radio did kind of upset him, considering he had work in about 40 minutes instead of an hour now. Sure, Scar had kept him, but he wouldn't trade it for any other morning. He'd rather be 10 minutes late every day than even bother being on time every day. If they lived together. Green paused, the thought not crossing his mind, but sticking. It didn't leave his mind. He could kiss Scar every morning, every day, every few moments of his day. They'd come and go to work together. It made Green giddy to think about, but that would be way too fast for him. Daydreaming of moving in with his exclusive person for less than 24 hours aside, Green parked in his own apartment complex. He gathered his bag and Scar's clothes he'd stolen and made his way inside, ignoring the few people coming and going as he made his way to the elevator to his own floor. Unlocked the door, set everything on his couch, and went to the bedroom to scramble and find clothes. Got everything he needed, showered, the quickest he probably ever showered, and almost slept at that. Got dressed, struggled to find his shoes, nearly forgot his keys, and had to eventually pause everything so he could collect his mind. Clothes, work bag, keys, shoes, wallet, phone. Green realized he'd lost it, immediately groaning. He didn't need it, but the day would suck without it. There was no time to search for it, though. He glanced at Scar's button-up on his couch and bit his lip. He second-guessed himself momentarily before snatching it up and made his way back down to his car. Maybe if he was lucky, he'd make it on time. He did not. He was 5 minutes late. He parked and sat for a moment, already accepting he was late. He pulled on Scar's button-up to wear like a jacket, rolling his sleeves up to his elbows. He grabbed his bag and made his way inside. Making his way to class, he briefly passed a few stray students and other teachers, passing the break room. The lack of Scar made him nearly pout, but he kept strong. He stepped into his own classroom, being met with a nice surprise. Tommy, in his work chair. Excuse me? Green asked with a laugh as he stepped in, noticing a few of his students perked their heads up. What on earth do you think you're doing? Green asked as he came up beside his desk, taking his bag off his shoulder. Tommy smiled at him, pushing himself in the chair. You were late. You were never late, Tommy said, crossing his legs in Green's spinning chair. Green allowed the other to stay here for a bit as he pulled his laptop from his bag. Yes, I unfortunately had a few minor distractions this morning. Nothing serious, just lost a handful of things and lost track of time, Green explained, thinking of staying curled up in bed with Scar. He wished the day would pass just so he could go back to sleep in the other's arms. That's not like you, Tommy frowned, before noting Green's wardrobe change. It's also not like you to wear shirts and button-ups like that. What happened to your sweaters? Tommy asked. Green thought about where his sweater was. That's a good question, Green admitted, before realizing the class started minutes prior. Hey, enough distractions. Up, up. Green waved for the other to move and go back to his chair. Green moved his bag to the floor and sat in his chair again. He bent to pull his binder out of the bag, a stack of papers following shortly after. He then heard a knock on his doorframe, looking up to see Scar. He smiled briefly before regulating his face. And what are you doing here? He asked, before seeing the other walk in with his coffee mug. Green paused, looking at it. You were late. I didn't get to give you your coffee this morning, Scar explained, leaning over the other before settling the mug in front of Green. Green side-eyed him for a moment before smiling finally. Thank you, Green mumbled, reaching for it, only to be offered his phone instead. Green paused, staring at Scar in confusion. Scar smiled, waving it a little until Green took it. You left in a rush. You forgot it in the living room, Scar explained. It's been charging in my car and my classroom until I saw your car park. Scar grinned at the other. Green blushed, awkwardly holding it. No one had ever hand-delivered his personal items with such love and care. He was doing things to Green's mind. He set his phone back on the desk, trying to push these thoughts aside. Is that my shirt? Scar whispered, not trying to let the students hear the comment. The thoughts were harder to ignore. Green's face was on fire as he rubbed the back of his neck. Maybe? Green confessed bashfully, turning his head away. He glanced back, only to be met with Scar pressing a kiss to his temple. Green didn't dare look in his students' directions after that. Cute. Text me after class, Scar whispered, before waving gently. Green awkwardly waved back, before glancing at his phone, seeing texts from Scar already. Scar, 7:32 a.m. Drive safe. I love you. Heart. Scar, 7:34 a.m. Oh no, you forgot your phone. Frowny face. Scar, 7:48 a.m. Don't worry. When you get it back, you'll see I took great care of it. Scar, 7:49 a.m. Check your photos. Winky face. Scar, 8:09 a.m. I love you. Smiley face. Green realized the time Scar sent the last text wasn't even when he had his phone yet. It was right before he'd given his phone. Like Scar forgot or wanted to tell Green again before departing. Green, 8:16 a.m. I love you too. Upon checking his messages, he went to his photos to see what Scar was talking about. He immediately smiled, finding a handful of pictures of Scar making silly faces, or Jelly being silly. All in all, it was just a few random photos, but Green made a mental note to change his phone's lock screen later. After settling, Green looked up, being met with a few grinning students, some texting, and others waiting. He smiled briefly before clearing his throat. Thoughts on a potential rest/study day? Green asked, hoping to get out of the interrogation he was about to receive. Tommy was the first to speak up. He was always the first one to speak up. You know, Tommy burst Grin's peaceful bubble as he sipped his coffee. Mr. Goodtimes used to talk about you a lot in class, Tommy trailed off. He mentioned getting a date with you one time too. Tommy grinned, torturing his teacher. Grin leaned back further in his chair, blush spreading across his face. 10 extra credit points to anyone who doesn't mention this for the rest of class, Grin offered. I think I'm doing just fine in this class, Tommy announced, only for a majority of students to chime in with a variety of agreements. Grin sighed softly, accepting his defeat and knowing he would be hounded for the rest of the first period. Oh, that was so silly. I love that. Green being like, no, we can't do that. What if they find out? Scott like a bet. Oh, that was so fun. Oh yeah, I also wanted to say, ha, suck it, I'm doing better than you guys. I actually got a girlfriend. Oh, that's so cool to say. Anyway, that happened today, so I'm excited no one to talk about it. But, the joke's on you. I'm not just exclusive partner, a girlfriend. I'm doing better than you. So that's so silly. Anyway, bye. I love that. Hope you guys did too. That was so. I love that. Oh my god. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Tell me what you thought about it in the comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.